Hey everyone. Hello, hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I normally give questionable writing advice through running metaphors, but I have since switched over to doing productivity sprints, where I am doing 30-minute writing sprints and then two 20-minute sessions. So, happy Monday to everybody who's here. Richard, thank you for joining in. Adriana, thank you for being here as well. I'm not caught up on Doctor Who. I am 2 episodes behind, although I am aware of the big twist, which isn't really a big twist, which brings, if true, and depending on how they implement things, it brings up a whole lot of uncomfortable questions. I know I'm aware of the headline of what that twist is, and I mean there are 1,000 different ways of interpreting that. And so, yeah, we don't need to go there yet. I guess I will comment. I gotta get through Andor first, which will probably take me another 2 weeks because that's also kind of meh. I know everybody loves it, but we just finished the wedding scene and it is dragging. Like, I know it's supposed to pick up after the wedding scene and all this and the other, and everybody who says that they're excited for the wedding scene because it shows what Star Wars could be, I'm just thinking this is the most pointless scenes I could come up with. Because yes, there are some loose and hidden metaphors for rebellion and for going against tradition, i.e., the Galactic Empire. At the same time, I don't really care about any of these characters, and I know we're supposed to care about Mon Mothma, but I had this conversation with my wife about how she is just a terrible person and a terrible mother, and I know that she's trying to like balance all that, and there's a whole bunch of nuance to characterizations, but the story that is being told is it is Star Wars, I will say that much, but it is not entertaining. So, that varies by mileage. Now, obviously, at the end of the season, I might come back and update my comments, but no, I'm not saying that Adrienne was a terrible person. I'm saying that the Mon Mothma was the terrible person. So she's a terrible mother and a terrible person based on just the events that have happened thus far. And so when the face of the rebellion that we know is this, whatever. Yeah. Yes. We disagree on several points. And that's fair. I can see that she's a conflicted character, and I care about conflicted characters because that's all about what we are supposed to put into our stories. However, oh yeah, I'm sorry about this. I got hit with some water earlier, just before I came on, so looks like a stain, but it's actually not. It's just some water that got smacked me in the face. Um, anyways, yes, Mon Mothma is trapped, but at the same time, I don't know. I just don't find her as an interesting character, and the conflicts that are present are not worth watching. I'll put that much. Like, I have no interest in seeing where Star Wars goes based on what they've already done. I know Ahsoka season 2 is coming out. I have no interest in watching that, which is a shame because I absolutely adore Star Wars. Like I keep saying, there are the Timothy Zahn trilogies behind me, and it's just it's committing the worst sin that a story can tell, and that it's not entertaining. That's the most accurate thing I can say about modern Star Wars. And yes, that goes back to the prequels, but you know, there is a whole bunch of issues there too. Anyways, let's move on to actual writing. So that's what my weekend was. I was actually a pretty relaxing weekend. I did a whole bunch of yard work. I spent 3 hours yesterday pulling up weeds, And the day before, I spent about 2 hours mowing and doing all kinds of yard care, which is good because it actually looks pretty nice out there. Ooh, hey, chronic pain carving. Yeah, I did a lot of yard work, but I wasn't out there cutting up trees, so there is that. I also did a lot of work around the house, and yeah, it was just a pretty wholesome weekend. I guess I didn't get enough sleep, but that is always a ongoing issue. I'm sorry, Richard. That sucks. Um, Weekends are supposed to be relaxing. Oh yeah, I also got a haircut. That is true. Anyways, let's get our first 30-minute sprint underway. And I am going to, yes, I didn't say it was just me. I just said that it was a relaxing weekend, but also very, very productive. So yes, thank you, Adriana, for helping to pull up weeds because oh boy, there are a lot of them. I think I spent some time not this past weekend, but the weekend before and the weekend before that. But we just finally, um, yeah, did an overhaul in our garden, and there's more weeds already cropping up. So it's an ongoing battle. We don't want to use weed killer because we have gardens with nice flowers and actual food that we eat. So I don't want to use chemical sprays. There is like the vinegar thing, which doesn't really work out that well. So the best way to do it is to just pull the weeds up. Cool. Well, chronic pain, enjoy doing the work in the barn or working on the barn. I don't know exactly what you're doing, but good luck. Good luck. Flamethrower. I am tempted. A couple of years ago, I did do chemical warfare against my backyard, and it didn't actually do a whole lot. The weeds just kept weeding, so I don't really have anything about that. But yeah, let's go through the first sprint, and I will see you all in 30 minutes. I'm going on mute, although I will have my headphones in so that way I can hear when this thing ends. I'm currently working on my fourth novel, towards the end of it. And this might be, well, I have the ending of this chapter, which I'm trying to write towards, which is pretty interesting because it's kind of a distraction scene, is the best way of is describing it. You'll know it when you get there, when you eventually read it, I guess. But I'll see you all in 30. And welcome back, everyone. I have roughly 300 words written, so it was a decent session. Got a little bit stuck there trying to figure out what to do next, but forward progress is always forward progress. I may be. Hmm. Based on how this chapter is going, I may push back the. Yeah, I'm going to do executive decision here. Hmm. So if that's the case, then I might need to do a lot of reworking then. Um Maybe not. I'm trying to think about this on the fly because I have this specific moment for the end of this chapter that I want to work towards, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Right now, I have a placeholder where it's here for this specific POV character, and if I want to push it back to the next one, but still have the same POV character, then I need to swap in a different POV character for this chapter because I don't want to do two in a row because there's too many people. Because I want to show this fight scene from different angles, but there's no reason why it can't be a different character for the next chapter. So that would actually come out pretty well if I can think about it. Let me see what I got. So, yeah. Okay. I might work with that. Yeah. Okay. I think that can work out pretty well. Anyways, so it looks like Richard has 500 words written, which is really great for a writing session. And seems like everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. So, yeah. Um there isn't really a good reason not to just skip into the next 20-minute writing sprint. Um Sorry. I am quite tired. Yeah. I am all ready for the next writing sprint. Seems like everybody's kind of self-contained and doing their own thing. Yep. Cool that you're watering some veggies. Thank you. Yeah. There's no reason not to. So I'm just going to dive right into the next 20-minute sprint. So here we go. I'll see you all on the other side 20 minutes. Good luck. All right. That was another 150 words, I guess. I'm writing a bit slowly. I'm up to about 500 words for the night. And yeah, I'm getting pretty hungry. So I might just hurry through the next 20-minute sprint. Either way, thank you everybody for joining in. We are about to do the third of 3 sprints for the night. So whatever you're working on, let's finish it out. Today's Monday. It's a bit of a tough one. I am mentally and physically exhausted. I don't know, from all the gardening, yes, but also I don't know. I just woke up pretty tired, and today was a draining one at work. I'll say to say the least. So I'm not well rested, even though there were a couple. Even though I should have, even though technically I got enough rest for this weekend. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. I'm going to try and maybe get an early night sleep. That being said, I don't really know. I don't have a good plan for the rest of the week. I'm just going to be trying, probably relaxing. I got a doctor's appointment, just a regular checkup. I'm going to submit the taxes for Balticon, where I'm going to pay all the taxes I owe for that. Aside from that, this should be a relatively relaxing week, if a little bit boring, which means that I, in theory, should be able to catch up on my sleep. But I don't know. I'm terrible when it comes to that. So hopefully I'll be able to write a bit. And yeah. With that in mind, I am going to start on the third and final productivity sprint of the night. Next week, we are coming back to you at 6 o'clock. There is nothing special about next week, so I don't need to do any off schedule things. There is going to be an off schedule thing coming up soon, I guess. Looks like, yeah, we don't need to go into that yet. Looks like at the end of this month. Oh, looks like I might be doing something for Independence Day. There we go. I might just push it to a few days early so that way I can do it on Friday instead of doing Monday. And that should be the only off schedule thing. So coming up in a month, I might do an early Friday event for our nation's Independence Day. Aside from that, I don't really have anything. I don't have any fun plans. It's just life. So let's get writing. Yeah. I'll see you all in 20 minutes. There we go. Well, that's beside the point. It still is a day off of work, which is something worth celebrating. So any day that's not a work day is, like I said, day worth celebrating. And so I might start just doing random days throughout. So I have a couple of time off in the next quarter, but towards the end of the year, I might just start taking Thursdays and Fridays off randomly, just because that way I can, catch up on sleep and do things. So, anyways, it's time to start writing. So I will get cracking on that and stop talking or put myself on mute. And welcome back, everyone. Let's see what I'm up to. Oh boy. We are up to 1,000 words, minus 150. So 900 words for this writing sprint, which is pretty good. 900 words a night. I will hopefully finish this chapter before the end, before next week's session. Don't honestly know. This one is a bit tough, and I need to work on the pacing with the next chapter. So yeah, I don't exactly know where I'm going with that. So I am going to likely prep some stuff, and let's see here. Yeah, with all that said, thank you everybody for joining in. Devin, hello. Mr. Vlandis, hey, good to see you. It's been a while, and I know you're working on you got some really cool videos about the construction and your new rain area. So thank you. Like I said, Devin, thank you for joining in. Richard, yeah, Independence Day is next month, but my newsletter comes out tomorrow. So if you want to get there, get all of the information about my life. I talk about Balticon, I talk about running and some injuries where I'm no longer running for this past month. But if you want all that info, the link is in the description below. And I will see you all next week. No, aliens will not be blowing up the White House on Wednesday. It's July 4th is when that's coming out. So a month from now is when I'll be shifting out my schedule. That's why I was talking about Independence Day. And yeah, I might watch Independence. I don't know. We are winding down here, so I don't want to go off on that tangent, but I will say that Independence Day, the sequel, retroactively makes Independence Day worse. So I know that people say, oh, it doesn't matter if we ruined such and such movie with the sequel because it's obviously not as good, but it's not like we ruined your childhood. But there are plenty of instances where reboots and remakes undo and retroactively make the original content worse. Like I used to watch Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 pretty regularly, like once every couple of years, and I might watch it soon, but episodes 7, 8, and 9 have definitely tainted that experience, even though I definitely don't view them as canon or anything like that. And I am reinvigorated by Star Wars thanks to the Timothy Zahn books behind me. But that being said, everything is kind of game worse. Okay, there is. Oh yeah, I guess that is the prequels. So, what was that? The Incredible Beasts and Where to Find Them definitely made the Harry Potter universe worse. And I know that there is a whole bunch of controversy about J.K. Rowling to begin with, but I will say that, ignoring her being a terrible person, I am of the opinion that the issues in Incredible Beasts and Where to Find Them and like the sequels that they planned for that series, the sequels that they came out for that series, made the Harry Potter movies retroactively worse. But that is a whole other issue, and one that I don't feel like talking about now. So I will probably bring it up next time, or maybe when I'm done with Andor, I can include that in. Yes, that is true, and absolutely yes. 4, 5, and 6 are the only Star Wars movies. That being said, oh man, let me see if I can find it because Eloise sent me a message about somebody's video. There we go. What if Star Wars were good? Let me see if this comes up. Perfect. So, who is this? It's kind of funny because he actually looks a little bit like me with, a scruffy beard. But Belated Media has rewritten episodes 1, 2, and 3, and he has come up with very creative solutions that still kind of keep the overall plot points there, but incredibly strengthen them. And the biggest thing I would say is that it's shifts the focus of episodes 1, 2, and 3 from Anakin to Obi-Wan. So it's Obi-Wan's story of trying to raise up a Padawan who then betrays him. And there's so many small things that they could have done in the original series. Like instead of making it take place on Naboo, it actually takes place on Alderaan. And I don't know how feasible all that is because I don't know that much of the extended universe about Alderaan and some of those other things. But anyways, I'm going off on random tangents here. You can watch this. It redoes episodes 1, 2, and 3 in a way that would have made them incredible. I will see you all next Monday night at 6 p.m. I hope you all were able to be productive tonight. And if not, Monday's over, so the week can only get better from here. I will see you all next Monday night. And Eloise, hey, thank you. Yeah, I just gave you a shout out for the video about that you sent me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were fantastic. And that belated media on YouTube is just genius. Like with 10 minutes of explanation, he was able to completely rewrite each of the movies. So 10 minutes on each of the movies. He was able to rewrite them in a way that makes sense, that is compelling, that ramps up the tension, and in theory would address a lot of the dialogue issues across the episodes 1, 2, and 3. But anyways, it's getting late, so I will see you all later. Have a wonderful night and take care. I will see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Bye now.